What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, the GARP challenge is now arrived on One Piece Treasure Cruise, and it looks like they're going to be here permanently. And you have the first set of GARP challenges, which came out quite a while ago now, around the time of the anniversary earlier this year. And they also added a fifth set of GARP challenges, which was, again, like relatively recently, around the time of Barto and Cavendish's release. But they haven't added the fifth challenge back. But the other three challenges that we were supposed to get on One Piece Treasure Cruise, they never arrived for some reason. But now we have them here. So in this video today, we're going to be going through challenges 11 all the way through to 15. Obviously, there are the 10 other challenges, but they are considerably easier compared to 11 all the way to 15. And those are the ones that I think a lot of people are going to struggle with. So I'm going to show you guys the teams that I use in order to beat each of these specific pieces of content. Now, before we get into today's video, I'm going to give a massive shout to today's sponsor. Introducing Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a turn-based RPG game done right, and I know many of you guys out there would have already heard about Raid before, but there is a really good reason for it. Raid is one of the top 3 ranked RPGs in the Google Play Store. Raid is insanely popular, having around 15 million downloads in the past 6 months, which is kind of insane. That's a lot of downloads in such a short period of time. Now, there are actually many different things that you can do within Raid Shadow Legends. You can enjoy a fully voiced story campaign, or you can decide to raid with your friends in a clan, or you can go ahead and gather orcs, undead, knights, elves, and even more. And the best part about Raid is that it's completely free to play, and there are heaps of other things going on as well. The fact that there are new champions being released every single month, which means that you can open up new strategies or new team builds that you can try out. And there's also progression rewards, so you can get free champions, free equipment, and other really cool goodies just by learning how to play the game. Raid have also published a new roadmap which has plans of huge updates coming within the next 6 months, so there is lots of content to look forward to within Raid Shadow Legends. And you can find me in game under the nickname Toadskii, and if you're quick enough, you'll be able to join my clan as well within Raid Shadow Legends. Some of my favorite things to do in Raid Shadow Legends is leveling up my champions as fast as possible to get them really strong and then take them into PvP against other players. There's an amazing community as well on YouTube and on Facebook if you want to get into the game and interact with other players. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click the special link down below in the description to go ahead and start playing Raid Shadow Legends today. And if you are a new player, you'll be able to get 100,000 free silver and 1 free epic champion known as Lightsworn. Just have a look at how badass this character is, and you get him for free if you are a new player, so make sure to download this game today. Additionally, as a new player, you're going to get access to a bunch of rewards that are accessible from the treasure chest icon in the top right hand corner of the screen, so make sure to go ahead and redeem them because they're only going to be relevant for 30 days, so hurry up and make sure to redeem them today. So make sure to go down below in the description and click that special link to download Raid Shadow Legends today, and thank you so much to Raid for sponsoring this video. So now we can get to talking about each of these actual GARP challenges. Now, this is going to be an extremely long video, so I will not be talking throughout the entire duration of this video, but every time we get to a new GARP challenge, I would just want to go over it very quickly and kind of the things that you should expect heading into it. So for number 11, round 11 of the second set of GARP challenges, it is the Punk Hazard stage. We've got Law on stage 3 here, who has about 1 million HP. A lot of the bosses before the final boss have around like 1 to 2. Some of them have a little over 2 million HP, so you do have to take that into consideration. But that's why V2 Akainu is so good for this, because his end of turn damage just KOs like every single boss, which is just, it's just absurd, honestly. Like, V2 Akainu could probably clear like every single one of these dungeons, but obviously it's nice to shake it up and have a little bit of variety, and you guys will definitely be seeing some variety in here. I do have like 2 V2 Akainu teams, this being one of them. I think the other one is on round 13, I think. But anyways, getting into this, on stage 4, you've got Toadskii and Smoker with their swapped bodies. With this stage, you've got resilience buff, which again makes V2 Akainu so good for this because of the end of turn damage just completely ignores the resilience buff of the enemy, which is nice. They don't have any debuff protectors, so you can bring poison if you do wish to do that as well. So you can run like a Stoli team with Shirahoshi if you do want to do that as well. But obviously V2 Akainu is much faster if you want to clear it, you know, as fast as possible. And then you can see that your captain actually gets swapped on this stage, which is pretty annoying. And I do take my time on the stage after this just to stall out that debuff to make sure my captain is now set back to Akainu, moving on to stage 6. Speaking of stage 6, you're going to encounter Monet. Monet has the debuff immunity, and she also will give you attack down, which is why I have Edward Weevil on this team to remove the attack down, as well as applying an attack boost to our team. So that's pretty nice to have, of course. And then the final boss is going to be Trafalgar Law, who is pretty simple, honestly. He doesn't really do that much. He has like 3 million HP, which for a lot of teams shouldn't really be too much of a problem. So yeah, pretty simplistic. He does apply a barrier after his first turn of attacks, so I would suggest to KO him before he applies that barrier, especially for V2 Akanu teams, because it is a great barrier, so you do not want to deal with that. So kill him on turn 1, and it's not going to be too much of an issue for any of the teams. But once you complete round 11, we'll make our way over to round number 12. Round number 12 is a very, very interesting dungeon in terms of the theming of it, because you've got characters from Dressrosa, you have characters from Whole Cake Island, you have characters from Fishman Island, and then you'll see on like turn 2 or stage 2, you've got Koza from Alabasta, which is just extremely, extremely weird. But there's lots of different things you have to take into consideration for this particular stage. You can see this threshold on this guy here, on Koza. He does not have much HP, so it's not going to be that much of a problem. I think that Luffy in Law is a very good option as a friend captain if you don't have your own copy of Luffy in Law, because there's lots of defensive effects on this particular round. So having the ability to switch and then allow his attacks to bypass those defensive effects is really, really useful. And you guys will be seeing us switch a lot with Luffy in Law throughout this entire run. It's just extremely nice to have. You've got the Celestial Dragon on round 3 or on stage 3, and the bodyguards in the front row have 30 HP, so you have to do 30 combo hits in order to actually KO them, and they have very, very high defense. It's like over 100,000 defense, so a lot of the time you're not going to be able to KO these characters unless if you have like some sort of buff on your team. So yeah, I would suggest to just take them out either with like a poison effect. That would work really, really well if you guys have poison on your team. Stage 4 though is going to be Peckins and Tamago. Peckins and Tamago have increased damage taken, and they also have the defensive buff, so having a character to remove the blue shield defense is very, very useful, or you can just literally just hit as hard as you possibly can to break through their defense. On round 5 or stage 5, you've got Maynard. Maynard is quite annoying as well. He has bodyguards very similar to the Celestial Dragon stage, where they have 30 HP, so you can't really break through those characters' defense on floor 5, so you just have to take that into consideration too. And then the second last stage, on stage 6, you actually have Ichiji and Niji. So for some reason they pop up out of nowhere, but they will actually go ahead and buff their own attacks. So the enemies are going to hit really, really hard. You've actually got the bodyguards once again with 30 HP in the front row on the Ichiji and Niji stage. There's just so much to take into consideration for this particular fight, and that's why GARP challenges are the end game content. You need a lot of good characters in order to beat this effectively. But yeah, the Ichiji and Niji stage will be quite tricky for a lot of teams. Luffy in Law doesn't have too many issues with it though, because of the fact that Luffy in Law's special ability is just really powerful, allowing you to do lots and lots of damage towards the enemy, and it really wasn't a big deal utilizing Luffy in Law, of course. So I would suggest, if you're going to build a team for this particular round, on round 12, Luffy in Law are going to be your best friend captain, or if you want to run a Stoolie team, you can run like double Shirahoshi if you do choose to do so. And you guys will see it in this clip when we finally get to the final boss fight. It is extremely annoying because everyone has a barrier, so that's why characters that have the ability to bypass barriers are going to be ridiculously useful for this round in particular. It would be awesome if Legend Carrot could complete this, but the thing is there are multiple different stages with the effect of with really high defense, like just natural defense, and Carrot cannot bypass natural defense. So that's going to be quite a problem for her. and part of the reason why she won't be able to complete this. But, you know, Legend Carrot would have been awesome if she was a very good option for this. But I actually do run Carrot in one of these teams for round number 14, I believe. So definitely get ready for that one because, dude, Legend Carrot is a beast. But overall, that's pretty much the quick overview of the round 12 fight against the GARP challenge of set 2. Lots of defensive effects on the enemy side of the field, so having ways to get around that is going to be your best bet. Round 13 of the GARP challenge begins, and this is actually on Sabaody with all of the Supernovas. This particular fight, I think, is a lot easier than round 12. That's my personal opinion, but I definitely found round 13 to be way easier in comparison. I don't know, maybe it's just because V2 Akainu is much easier to use than Luffy and Law because of the fact that the bosses don't have much health, so his end of turn damage does a lot of the heavy lifting, as you guys are going to be seeing here. Just, you know, 6 perfects and it's GG. Dude, I love V2 Akainu for these GARP challenges. He just destroys them. I mean, you could probably get away with utilizing a friend captain V2 Akainu. That could probably work if you have V2 Shanks as your own captain. I think you could probably figure out something there, but definitely V2 Akainu is just, oh, he's a boss. But you've got the Supernovas we already talked about, or we didn't really talk about it, but we went over already on the clip with Capone and Giulio Boni, where they give you meat and tandem as negative for the entire rest of your run. So if you have a team that utilizes meat and tandem, then your team is not going to be super duper useful, unless if you have a way to disable the recovery and tandem effect, where they are counted as non-matching. Stage 4 had Kid and Killer, and they just basically had the ability where your chain was reduced, so nothing really too crazy. And then on stage 5, you guys are seeing with X-Drake, you get attack power down, or attack down for 1 turn, but remember with Akainu, as long as you're hitting your 6 perfects, that end of turn damage is not affected by attack down, so much easier to go through. With Hawkins here, he's very similar to every other boss Hawkins that you will encounter in the game. He always seems to apply a counter effect, but again, it's not really that big of a deal. If you just kill him in 1 turn, he's not really going to be doing that much to you. And then the final boss is actually your Rogue. He actually will go ahead and special bind your entire team for 3 turns, and also gives you attack down for 3 turns. So this is where I have Baccarat and also the time skip Nami. Baccarat you can replace with literally any other character that removes attack down. Like, she's not important. She's only here just to remove the attack down. I just have Hody Jones in this team just as a filler character. Really not needed. But what happens is after you KO your Rogue, he actually revives with half of his health. And he will go ahead and have, I think it's a resilience buff he puts up. So he's quite annoying after the revive. Again, V2 Akainu very useful for this because he completely ignores the resilience buff of your Rogue. So that's why I would suggest to run Akainu for this particular round of the GARP challenge. And now round 14 against the Okama stage of the GARP challenge. So this one is so freaking cool, dude. This Carrot team absolutely dominates it. It does require a little bit of orb luck on the final stage because you do need to get some matching orbs in order to have enough damage output to KO the boss when you eventually get there. But literally, like, that's about it in terms of RNG. This team is crazy, and you actually don't really even need to use Carrot's special ability throughout the entire run. And if you guys want to run this team even more, like, more powerful, and you want more power on your team, you could definitely replace the Caesar rare recruit character, or the Gangster Gastino, with limited rare recruit Pedro. You could replace Lucy with, I guess, another type booster of some kind. But the nice thing about him is you use his special ability, and then you carry it over into the 5th stage against Elizabeth, Sanji, and the other character. And having that 2 times attack boost on this particular stage right here is very useful because you can see you can only use 1 special per turn here. So you can bring a type booster in, but it's nice to have the type boost on stage 4 and also stage 5, which makes the stage much easier. Stage 6, you have another version of Bon Clay. He has a lot more HP this time. He has 2.8 million health, and you can see he actually becomes an int character. And this is where we can activate our Toadskii, which will give us the chain lock on stage 6 and also stage 7. The thing is, do not use any orb boost on stage 6 or stage 7 because they will remove the beneficial effects, and it's just bad. You just don't want to use any orb boosting effect on stage 6 or stage 7, which is kind of annoying. Would have been nice to have that because it makes the team much easier to run. And then the final stage here we have is Ivankov. Now, Ivankov has 5.2 million health. She has a damage threshold for 3 turns, and you can see we get a lot of despair, like 7 turns of despair. And again, this is why version 1 Rayleigh is really good here, because we used him earlier on in the run, and with his limit break, he has reduced cooldowns every time another character uses a special. So you can use him multiple times per run, and with all these specials active, we are able to KO Ivankov, making stage 14 a piece of cake. And now we move on to the final of these dungeons of the GARP Challenge Set 2 with round 15 against the CP9 stage. This is a very challenging stage. Like, there's no beating around the bush there. This stage really freaking sucks. Lots of different boss effects you have to take into consideration here when building your team. This stage sucks, dude. Like, there's no other real words to describe it. It just sucks. You have to do a fair amount of stalling to ensure that your team is, able to actually get through it, because there are lots of stages with barriers. You see this stage here with 10 hit combo barrier. There's another stage later which has all these mobs with HP barriers. There's so much in this dungeon, man. But Spandam's actually kind of annoying on this stage. He has a massive 20 hit barrier. All the other Marines have 10 hit combo barriers. And under 20% with Spandam, if he is below 20%, he's going to blow away one of your characters. So do not get him below 20% under any circumstances. But Spandam doesn't really have that much health. He only has 750,000 HP. After this stage, you've got Jerry. Jerry's an interesting one because he has a slot barrier every single turn. He goes from side barrier to quick barrier to a dex barrier, and then he also has a side barrier after that, and he just keeps repeating it basically. And the thing is, it's a 2-hit barrier, so you need 2 specific orbs of the same color to break through his barrier. This is why I just use Magellan just to blast through it. Jerry is just completely annoying. And then after this stage, you'll encounter Wands, and Wands is very similar to the Spandam stage, where it's him with 6 other mobs. They all have barriers, and again, this is why Jack is nice, because Jack can just completely obliterate anyone through a barrier, and obviously the more enemies on the field, the more damage Jack will do to them. So Jack is very nice. I use him 3 separate times in this specific piece of content. Jack is very, very useful for this dungeon. The thing about Wands is that's really annoying as well on stage 5, is that when you actually kill Wands, he's going to make all your, I think it's type orbs non-beneficial for 10 turns. I know it's a 10-turn negative orb enable, so definitely outstall that before moving on to the 6th stage. And the 6th stage is going to be against Nero. Nothing really too crazy about Nero on stage 6. He has a lot of combo hit barriers. It's like a 26 hit combo barrier. So as long as you have characters that can bypass barriers, you can kind of just take your time with him and break through it, because he only has about 1.4 million HP. On my specific team here, I've got Ein and also Magellan that have barrier penetration fully maxed out, so I'm able to just use their attacks to just kill Nero through his barrier, which was pretty nice. Stage 7 is going to be quite difficult as well. You've got Kumadori, Fukuro, and also Bluno. All of them have about 1.6 million health, and they all also will have a slot barrier. And this is again where I will use Magellan on stage 7 to just use his poison effect to KO the enemy, as they don't have poison debuff immunity, which is pretty nice. Utilizing Magellan to just allow his poison to just KO the enemy. Also, I haven't really stated it yet, but Colosseum Pika is actually quite awesome here, because you know, while you take out that boss with just the Jack special, and you need to stall out to kill out all of these other mobs, it's nice to have Colosseum Pika set up as the captain, because he reduces damage by like a crazy amount. It's a crazy amount of damage reduction that he reduces by when he becomes the captain. And I think that when he becomes the captain, he also boosts his own attack by like 6 times or something. So like Pika does a lot of damage and reduces a lot of damage when he's set as the captain in the middle of the fight. So Colosseum Pika, you know, a lot of people don't like him. I definitely am not one of those people that like him either. But in very niche circumstances, he is very, very useful to have. Now, after stage 7, where you'll have your CP9 characters with Bluno, Fukuro, and Kumadori, you'll encounter another stage with a boss and 5 mobs, being Khalifa, and again, that's where I will use Jack once again. There's so many annoying barrier stages on this fight, which is ridiculous. Stage 9, the second last stage of this dungeon, is Kaku and Jabra, and you'll actually get blinded for 9 turns. So make sure that you have your way to hit your perfects, because they both will have a perfect hit barrier. So you have to hit a perfect before you start dealing damage to them. It's just, again, it just annoyances upon annoyances in this particular GARP challenge. And the final boss stage is Lucci, who again also has a barrier, a 3-hit great barrier, and every 2 turns he'll actually change it to a good barrier, and then a perfect barrier, and then back to a great barrier, and he just keeps switching between his different barriers. So yeah, Lucci is really annoying as well. He has 7 million HP as well. Oh boy, that's why V2 Katakuri is really nice here, because we can just go ahead and, you know, take all the time in the world to stall out as much damage as we possibly can, and then use the special ability of him to deal a lot of damage to stage 9 and also stage 10. And literally, that's literally the stage 9 and stage 10 for this team, is Katakuri stage 9, Katakuri stage 10, and just break through the barrier as best as you can and just KO the enemy. That is pretty much it. But man, I'll let you guys watch the rest of these clips now. This set of GARP challenges, in my personal opinion, was a little bit more trickier than the first set, just looking at it as a whole. I think definitely this 15th challenge is much more difficult than the first 15th challenge, just because of all of the defensive effects, like with barriers, defense ups, percent damage reduction, just particularly the barriers. They were the most annoying thing enjoyed the video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button, and if you want to stay up to date with all of the content I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.